There's a stretch of road in southern Illinois where the pavement just stops mattering. No signal bars, no mile markers that really mean anything. Just gravel, trees, the sky, the sound of my own bike. And the first time I really sat in that silence, I noticed something strange. I didn't really know what to do with it. It's like my brain kept reaching for something, a notification, a podcast, anything. And there was nothing there to reach for. Just me and whatever was actually in front of me. And that's when it hit me. We've built a life so convenient, so optimized, so frictionless that most of us have forgotten what it even feels like to be alone with an unsolved problem. See, GPS tells us where to turn, right? An app tells us where to eat. If something breaks, somebody else fixes it. We've engineered discomfort almost completely out of our daily lives. And it used to not be a hobby to navigate unfamiliar ground or fix what breaks or just sit with not knowing what's next. That was just what life used to be like. Now we pay for gear, we watch tutorials, and we ride hundreds of miles just to feel something that used to come standard. So today is not a gear review or a rally recap. I want to talk to you about what convenience quietly took from us and why I think a dirt road with no cell signal might be one of the last places left to get it back. This realization hit me like a ton of bricks when I was exploring the back roads of southern Illinois about an hour from my house. I like to spend the weekends unplugged and disconnected from the daily grind of my usual 9-to-5 job. So, naturally, I find myself on the bike and I'm out exploring more remote areas. And on this particular day, I was winding my way down a remote stretch of gravel 2-track when my curiosity got the better of me. I spotted a Forest Service road that broke off the main gravel, and I wondered what was at the end of that dirt trail. Now, without much thought, I chose to take the turn, and I found myself slowly meandering through the forest on a dirt road that really hadn't seen much traffic that season. This was exactly what I was looking for. It was isolation and the chance to explore a world that was otherwise close to me in the regular routine of my day-to-day life. A few miles into the trail, I stopped the bike to take a look at an obstacle that was in front of me. So I got off the bike, I walked a few feet, and then I realized it. My cell phone had no signal at all. I was riding alone that day, so there was literally no one around for miles. No riding buddies, no way to call for help, and no way to access the familiar conveniences that I had really grown accustomed to. I guess the best way to describe that feeling is to say, I think I really truly was vulnerable. And it was in that silent moment I realized something. I didn't know what to do with that feeling. The silence of the forest, the absence of social media, and the realization that I really was alone. So I sat there for a moment and I began to consider how I ended up on that dirt path in the middle of the forest, completely exposed and disconnected, and why it made me feel so uncomfortable. I realized that convenience culture had shrunk my tolerance for discomfort, boredom, and uncertainty to almost nothing. And in fact, I couldn't remember the last time I was truly uncomfortable with the situation I was in. And that shouldn't have been a surprise because everything in life is so on demand these days, right? Think about it. Our food, directions, entertainment, any kind of answers you need, even a rescue is just a click away. My whole life has been so neatly packaged that every single need and almost all the wants are just within reach at any given moment. Uncertainty has just been removed from my life. And it's by the introduction of a quick Google search, right? Or a phone app that can actually deliver what I need straight to my door. And if I need directions, I can just ask Siri to tell me where to go. If something needs to be repaired, quick chat GPT search can find a dealership close to me, and chances are I'll get it fixed by the end of the business day, and I realize that I have been quietly trained to treat any friction in my life as a problem to eliminate rather than something to move through and grow from. The cost of that truth isn't obvious day to day. Instead, it shows up as like restlessness, low attention span, and hunger for experiences that I no longer knew how to generate myself. And you know what? Maybe that's why I got into adventure riding in the first place, to experience something that the real world had taken from me. An almost primal nature to explore, to solve problems, and to work through discomfort at my pace. And maybe that's why so many other people today are looking for these isolated stretches of road. Not to find something new, but really, we're trying to find something we lost. For most of human history, navigating unfamiliar terrain, reading weather, fixing what breaks, and tolerating real risks, they weren't hobbies. They were baseline survival competencies. And that's just how people lived. They depended on their own instincts and their skills to survive. Long before the internet offered a personal chatbot with endless answers, people thrived by working through uncomfortable situations and learning from their mistakes. Look, those skills didn't disappear because we got worse as people. They just got engineered out of daily life, and I think it was by design. That same skill set, wayfinding, self-reliance, tolerance for the unknown, is now a niche recreational pursuit with its own gear industry, tutorials, and rally culture. The truth is, this channel is actually part of that repackaging too. And adventure riding is a call back to the lost desire for exploration. Most of us are looking for something. That's why we plan these trips to remote places, and we spend hours learning new skills to navigate the backcountry. It's a lost default that has been eerily absent to my generation. But there's something inside of us that craves the unknown. Maybe it's a call back to our nature to explore and experience new things. For most, that curiosity is lost, and I think we're trying to find it again. As adventure riders, we can see this contrast very clearly. We choose to ride in places that are remote, and we force ourselves to plan out how far we can go on a tank of fuel. After all, most of these backcountry trips don't have gas stations every other block like the cities we live in. And we prepare our routes beforehand. And some of us choose not to rely on GPS. We bring paper maps along, and we use our instincts to navigate the terrain when cell signal is lost. We bring tools to work on our bikes, and some of us carry recovery equipment to be self-sufficient on a remote trail where help may not arrive for hours. And we trade in the constant entertainment and doom scrolling for hours of helmet time with nothing but the road, the weather, and our thoughts. After years of traveling on my bike, I realized something profound. I'm actually seeking discomfort at this point. I'm looking for opportunities to practice the skills that my modern life has taken from me. Skills like problem solving, deductive reasoning, and self-reflection. That's why I choose to take the dirt road. That's why I find myself in vulnerable situations where the silence is uncomfortable at times, and I'm forced to deal with it. You see, the discomfort is where the payoff lives. It's competence that you can trust, memories that are yours instead of algorithm fed, and confidence that doesn't come from convenience, it comes from your experience. Riding doesn't really make life harder. It repractices a muscle that modern life never asks you to use. That's the beauty of it. We were designed to explore new places, to solve problems, and to push our own limits. And my adventures call me back to that lost discipline of self-reliance. So, week after week, I choose to make myself uncomfortable, to push myself a little farther and learn something through that discomfort. So, this week, create a little friction on purpose. Leave the phone in the tank bag for an hour, right? Take an unfamiliar road. Let yourself be bored somewhere new. That's right. Yeah. Let yourself be bored. The truth is, you don't need an adventure rally or a long BDR trip to practice this. You just need willingness to be uncomfortable on purpose again. Here's what I keep coming back to. This isn't about hating convenience. So I'm not going to pretend that I want to give up hot showers and cell service and, show up on your driveway or at your driveway like on a horse or something. I do enjoy modern conveniences. But somewhere along the way, we stopped practicing the muscle that convenience replaced, the one that sits with boredom instead of numbing it, right? The one that reads a landscape instead of a screen, the one that trusts itself when there's no one else around to hand you the answer. That muscle doesn't disappear because we stop needing it. It just goes quiet. And I think that's the real reason so many of us keep coming back to rallies, to those back roads, and to riding way further than we probably need to. We're not chasing scenery. We've gone looking for a feeling again. You don't need an adventure bike to practice this. You don't need a BDR or a rally jacket, right? You need about an hour, a road that you don't know, the willingness to leave your phone in the tank bag and just be uncomfortable on purpose for a little while. Nope, that's the whole video. Go get uncomfortable this week on purpose. And if this one hit different than my usual stuff, let me know in the comments. I've got more of these reflective rides in me if people want them. So subscribe if you're not already. And until next time, I'm encouraging you to get out there and find your adventure.